Hi, I'm James and thanks for tuning in to eBuyer. In this video, I'm going to be taking a look at Netgear's Nighthawk Gaming XR1000. This is an awesome gaming router with Wi-Fi 6 functionality and DumaOS built in, which we're going to explore later in this video. In short, it's got some great features that genuinely help prioritize gaming on your network, which should reduce your ping, reduce your lag, and all importantly, increase your gaming performance. Let's do this. Taking a look around the box of the XR1000 does a really good job actually of detailing the key features and functionality you should genuinely get pretty excited about. From DumaOS 3.0 support, an operating system that's widely regarded as one of, if not the best operating systems for a gaming router, to actually geofencing support. Now, geofencing allows you to force particular game servers. For example, if you're in the UK and you only want to play on European servers, you can absolutely do so. And if for some reason you wanted to play with some friends in the States, you can do that as well. As if that wasn't enough though, you also have a heat map built in, which allows you to ping lots of different game servers and identify which ones have the lowest input lag. So if there were say 8 servers in Europe and 5 in the UK, and you didn't know which was best, you could ping all of them, get some great results, and then stick to the ones with the best results, reducing your input lag, response time, and all in all, giving you a bit of a gaming edge. With a powerful 1.5 GHz 3-core processor, you've got plenty of power under the hood as well in order to actually direct that traffic and power that DumaOS. You've also got 5 gigabit Ethernet ports on the rear of the router, giving you gigabit speeds for 5 devices and any switches that you might want to plug in. And as I say, powerful DumaOS support. As if that wasn't enough, this is a Wi-Fi 6 router by design, as many of the latest options on the market from Netgear are. This is going to give you the highest possible speeds and the best performance in a day and age of increasing Wi-Fi bandwidth, especially here in the UK. So much of the UK is now gigabit in terms of network speeds, but to actually realise that, you need a good, powerful router. Let's go ahead and take it out of the box, see what we get included, and then explore the gaming-inspired design of the XR1000. Straight off the bat then, we've got a quick start guide with 3 easy steps to actually get the router set up, which includes installing the Netgear app on your mobile device, which is pretty handy actually to be able to control the router nice and easily. And then the Nighthawk Pro Gaming Router itself. Look at this thing. With really nice red and black accenting and a really cool game-inspired design, the thing looks awesome. You've also got your network ID and your password. This will of course be unique depending on the router you buy. Ventilation at the bottom as well for that powerful 1.5 GHz processor and all the processing power that comes under the hood. And then plenty of locations to plug up our 4 large network antennas. Something which you're going to want to do pretty much straight off the bat with any router. You can do this by lifting up the top panel in the box, and then you'll find all of your included accessories, including the power adapter with various different region connectors. We of course want our 3-pin UK plug, and all of these pretty insane actually Wi-Fi antennas that we're going to screw into the router to really kick things off. As if that wasn't enough, you also get an Ethernet cable included, and I'm happy to report it's a flat design. These are the more premium and definitely the better Ethernet cables in 2021. Super flat, super thin, and super easy to cable manage. Really important. So I've gone ahead and actually installed all of our antennas onto the router. Do be wary though that these are actually labeled. So you've got antennas 1, 2, and 3, which need to go in their respective locations. Make sure you get this right, as this will give you the optimal signal strength and signal quality when it comes to speeds and connectivity on the router. Moving around to the rear, and we've got a pretty conclusive I/O. Moving from the right-hand side to the left-hand side, we've got a power button on/off. We've also got our internet input. This is where you're going to pop in the actual internet source connection, if you will, though it's just the standard RJ45 Ethernet port. And then we've got an additional 4 Ethernet ports as well. These will act as a bit of a switch essentially, allowing you to plug in lots of other devices, extra switches, and all that good stuff. Finally then, we've also got a USB 3 port. this is network attached. So say you want to have a hard drive that all of your devices can access, you just plug that into here, it will provide it with power and data and allow you to access it on the network. You'll also notice that spinning the router around, these are quite subtle actually, which I like. You've got your WPS button as well as all your indicator LEDs. These include the 2.4 and 5 gigahertz Wi-Fi bands, whether your USB 3 port is being used and read and written to. And then you've also got indicator LEDs for each of the 4 additional RJ45 Ethernet ports. So for all the devices that you plug in, whether it be a laptop, a desktop, a console, or even an Ethernet switch, this will indicate whether there's traffic throughput going to each of these devices. We'll see these better though once the router is actually turned on. So let's go ahead, plug it up to our wider Ethernet connection, and then plug up a couple of devices, test out the signal strength, and all that good stuff. So I've gone ahead and jumped through the router setup process using the Netgear Nighthawk app available for iOS or Android. This gives you a really easy step-by-step process that gets the router working from basically zero. We've gone ahead and set up as well username and password details for root access. That's basically a set of credentials that will allow us to configure the router's settings. Don't worry, this username and password are different to the general details you give out to users of your network, whether that be family members, kids, colleagues, whatever it might be. So no one who's not supposed to have access will have access. We're then going to jump into DumaOS. It's the special operating system that comes with this Nighthawk router, and it's genuinely pretty fantastic. I've used it a lot before and have quite a bit of experience with it. You can see here, to access this, you need to type in 192.168.1.1. This is essentially the network location for the router. This network address is pretty universally recognized as the router's address on your network, with of course it being device number 1, but DumaOS on this Netgear router is the real key selling point. You can see here we're greeted first off by a dashboard. Now this gives us our real-time network overview in terms of download and upload. So you can see here, we're currently downloading around about 40 megabits a second, but no uploads are going on. You can also see here the usage of each of our CPU cores. We've got a 3-core CPU in this router, and you can see here, core number 3 is not doing much, but cores number 1 and 2 are ticking over nicely. It's actually quite a good thing that in the current state, usage, especially on this 3rd core, is nice and low. We're currently not really doing a great deal on the router, so having the extra leeway to push it a lot further is obviously appreciated. You can see here as well, you've also got your wireless status with the 2.4 and 5 gigahertz bands. 5 gigahertz tends to be better for speeds at closer range, especially as the 2.4 gigahertz band gets more and more crowded. It goes back to what we said for gaming. Not everyone's going to be able to game with a wide connection, though of course you could on this router. But when you are gaming on Wi-Fi, you want that experience to be as good as it possibly can be. You can actually configure this dashboard as well. You can add or remove elements to make it a one-stop shop for all the key data you're looking for. One of the cool features we talked about earlier is actually Geofilter. Now this allows you to geofence an area on a map. And when I say a map, you can see here it physically is a map. So at the center of this circle is our current location, and we can expand this, make it smaller, make it bigger, and essentially restrict what servers our games are forced to use. That stops a game like CSGO or Call of Duty Warzone using a server over in LA, thousands of miles away, and keeps it using one in, say, Manchester or London, which might only be 50 or 100 miles from where you're located. In order to do this, you actually go ahead and add a device, so you're not necessarily restricting all of your devices, which is a good thing. So let's go and select our laptop for this demonstration. We're then going to choose what game we're playing. So we're going to go for a little bit of Apex Legends. Click Next. It's then going to go ahead and recommend the best filtering settings, and then we can just go ahead and click Continue. Once we've done this, we can then expand the distance out further or closer. So if we just want to stick to UK, we can absolutely do so. If we want to reach the East Coast of America, we can do that as well. And it really dynamically updates. Ping Assist is also another good one to use. This will basically restrict the geolocation based on ping data as opposed to pure location. So once again, you can configure that at the bottom here and kind of choose what your lower and upper limits are. The next cool feature I touched on earlier that I really want to demonstrate is a thing called Ping Heatmap. This is quite difficult to describe, but when it works, it speaks for itself. So we can go ahead and just select the game we want to play. Let's say we're into a little bit of, I don't know, CSGO, it's then going to go ahead and ping all of the CSGO servers basically around the world that it can reach and rank them based on the lowest to the highest ping. So you can see here there's a server available with 35, but if we headed over to America, South America specifically, we'd be jumping up to about 239, essentially allowing us to reduce our ping by a factor of 10, just by picking the right server, which we can then geofence in the Geofilter mode. Fortnite though is a massive one nowadays, so let's give that a go. Got more server options here, and you can see it really does rank them. I appreciate that the Americas are extreme example, but let's look more locally. There's one in Ireland or Northern Ireland with a 27 millisecond ping, but one in looks like France or Spain with a 22. So actually, geofencing for a server physically further away could actually give us a bit of a gaming edge. People spend a lot of money nowadays, and quite rightly so, getting a monitor with a 1 or a 2 millisecond ping rather than a 5 or a 10. Don't blow that extra 3 milliseconds you've just gained by picking a bad server. And that's where DumaOS really comes in. As if that wasn't enough, you've also got a really good device manager built in. This allows you to manage the bandwidth across all your devices, and especially if you're a gamer and you want that guaranteed bandwidth on your network, that's where this comes in. And it maps them out really nicely right from the wider area network, which is where your internet's coming from, into the router and then out to each of the devices. If you've got a switch as well, it will build these into the web so you can see which devices are connected directly, which are through a switch, identify latencies. It really is super nerdy, but genuinely really useful. I know what you're probably thinking, James, this is not enough information for me. Well, don't worry, DumaOS has got you covered in the System Information tab, where you've just got every single bit of information you could possibly ever want. Everything from the RAM usage on the router itself, it's crazy, to the usage of the inbuilt flash storage, the installed applications, the network status. It really does cover everything off in just the most incredible accuracy. And on that note, that pretty much wraps it up for our look here at eBuyer at the Nighthawk Pro Gaming XR1000 router. If you'd like to learn more about this or any other Netgear products, they'll be linked at ebuyer.com in the description below. Thanks for tuning in though, and as always, we'll see you soon.